So he's got a little root ball going on there. That is just awesome. So recently, one of you guys left a message on my YouTube channel and said, hey, have you ever seen this particular air layering device? And they left a link to Amazon. I clicked on it and I went to it and I had never seen it, but it got me excited. So I wrote the company and I said, hey, how would you like me to try it out on video here? Well, just this morning, my wife went to the mailbox and they sent me some. Let's take a look at what we got here. So this is pretty cool, man. It looks like they sent me 4 of these things total. So here's what they look like. They're just a plastic pod, but they hinge so you can close them around whatever your air layering branch is. And then they have these little foam pieces. Let's show that real good. And they're just inserted right in there so that when you close that, it just closes around the branch, and the foam can obviously kind of mold to the branch's shape so that everything stays sealed inside of this. That is a really neat little pod. The reason that I was so drawn to these is because it's already hinged. You can just put whatever you need to in here, close it up and seal it, and you're done. You don't have to worry about all that saran wrap and foil. Now they're not real big, but they'll hold quite a bit of peat inside of there, and really once you get a branch going through there, there's plenty of room for the roots to start. I'm excited to get this started. We're going to do some figs with this guy and see how well they work and how easy they are to use. That's really what drew me to them. Alright, so there's our 4 pods there, and in the end I've decided to go with a Smith fig, a Rockaway green. I'm going to do 2 of those, and then we're going to do a Col de Dame Noir because I just love the pattern of the leaves. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is score these, and if you watched my last air layering video I did last summer, I'll put a link in the description down below, you'll know that I tried this without actually cutting all the bark away like you traditionally would for air layering, and it worked just fine. I've got reasons for that. Go watch that video and see why. But in this case, just like before, I'm going to just make some scores around this bark, and then we're going to go from there. Now we're going to go right below this node here, because that's where the highest concentration of undifferentiated cells are. And then I might go around the node on the back side. All that score does is break the flow of nutrients down to the roots of the plant and stop them right there so they can build up and form callus and form roots. Now I've got a bucket of peat right next to me here, and I've already wrung this stuff out, so I'm just going to pack this down into these little pods. So I'm just going to lay that branch right against there and just close it up. Man, it just don't get any easier than that. Sealed, done, ready to go. Alright, the next one we're going to try is this Rockaway green. So in the same way, I'm going to make some slices just into the bark around this little branch here, around these nodes. These things are just flat out awesome so far. I really like how easy this is. The outside container part is stiff, and so, you know, you're not messing around with this loose saran wrap, and man, I'm telling you, this is just pretty slick so far. That's all there is to it. Alright, so there they all are. We got them all lined up. I'm excited to see the outcome of these little rooting pods. I hope they work out great. I think they're gonna. They were so easy to use. I'm going to get back online now and see if they got some bigger ones, but in the meantime, we'll come back when there's something to show you. Again, today is April 29th, so maybe a few weeks, a month, 2 months, I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so it's been 2.5 months, and today is July 16th. Let's go check out these figs and see where they're at. So I've pulled them all... Shut up, Henry. So I've pulled them all out here, and we've got the 4 all sitting out that we ended up doing the air layers with these little air pods. I love these little air pods, man. They're so cool. But in the fashion here of being transparent 100% with you guys, I am going to show you exactly what's going on. So this branch right here that I ended up doing this with didn't do very well. The whole branch all the way up. And so it's going to have one little growth. It's really not going to amount to much. This is from down below. I wish I would have got it just down below here. Probably would have done something. But let's open this up and take a look at what we've got. I don't think there's anything going on in there. Yeah, it's not going to root. That one at least. So this was the Col de Dame Ramada. And you can see It's kind of, I'm telling you guys, it's been a really cool, wet, rainy summer so far. And these figs just are not doing as well. But this particular branch here, it just completely died back. It never really did anything. It might have been dead when I did the air layer. I did them really early on in the season. So, but we'll just snap this off. There's nothing under here. I can tell you that right now. It rotted. Yeah, it never even did anything. But let's look at the positive. I'm not going to open these guys yet because they're not quite ready. But the Col de Dame Noir, I was really excited about this one. You see that? We've got roots in there, guys. It's starting to root well. We've got beautiful top growth coming on this. So it's gonna do really well as an air layer. Lots of roots starting to form in there. I'm gonna come back and we'll probably, I don't know, maybe I'll give it a few more weeks or maybe even another month. I want this to totally fill out with roots before we do anything with it. All right, so it's been several more weeks. Today is August 16th. Let's see what these air layers look like. So after those two didn't make it, this is what we had left. The Col de Dame Noir here, and then the Rockaway Green on this guy. And they actually rooted, they took off. I was hoping the next few weeks would give us some more root growth. Maybe a little bit. We're gonna bust that open and take a look. But I want to talk to you guys about something here in just a sec when it comes to these figs and air layering, or really any plant when it comes to air layering. Let's cut these off, let's open the pods, and let's see what things look like. So here's the Rockaway Green. Let's go ahead and take this guy open. Now, the thing that I really liked about these root pods here is that they've got this little snap, and we'll talk about that in a second, but let's open this guy up and take a look very carefully and see what we've got. So it's not filled out with roots, as you can see. All right, that guy didn't come out with a full root ball, but that's what we got, a few roots. Now, I gotta be very careful with this guy. We should typically see better air layer results from figs like this. They should be just filled out and making a massive ball, but these guys didn't. I know why, and we're going to talk about that, but in the meantime, I need to get these leaves snipped back. I need to get this potted up. If I leave these leaves intact, it's just going to lose too much moisture and the cutting will die, but we can still save it and do real well if we pot this up and cut the leaves off. All right, let's open up this Col de Dame Noir. Let's see what we get here. Open it for you guys, see what we got. So that one's got more roots. That's cool. Alright, pull that out gently. There we go. So he's got a little root ball going on there. That is just awesome. So this guy is rooted out fairly well. Typically with figs, you'd see more roots than that in an air layer. I know why they're doing this for me, but that's a nice little fig. All right, so let's take this Rockaway Green and just snip off the leaves now. We don't want to leave them intact. We will not kill this cutting by snipping the leaves off. All this will do is just preserve it. It'll keep it from losing too much moisture. It's essentially a hardwood cutting again, but it's already got a little bit of a start with these roots here. I'm going to put this in a 1 gallon pot, and we're going to encourage it to grow some good roots here before we hit winter. And as far as the Col de Dame Noir, I think I'm going to go along here and we'll cut some of these leaves off as well. In fact, I think I'm going to cut some of this top growth off up here. All right, so there it is. I've decided to go with the little Dixie cups because I want to see the roots pouring through there when they start pouring through. We fertilized them, we labeled them, we're ready to go. So the big question is, why didn't I get those massive roots inside that pod? And what can you guys do to get those massive roots? Well, I'll be honest with you, it had nothing to do with these pods. These pods are fantastic and I love these things. And the thing that sells me the most on them is that little snap piece right there. It just latches real easy. You don't have to use the zip ties like you do on other pods. It's all self-contained. I love these things. In fact, I'll probably go buy some more. But to get those massive roots, what I did wrong, this is all my fault. I didn't fertilize the mother plants this year, and I didn't up-pot them to bigger pots. Here's something that I've learned about figs over the last, 3 years since I started working with figs, maybe 4 years now, and I'm still learning a lot. Figs require a massive amount of water through the summer, at least in my experience. They need a constant, steady supply of moisture. If they dry out at all, they're going to suffer, and it's hard to bring them back from that. That's number one. Number two, they really need fertilizer. They're heavy feeders as they're growing and soaking up all that moisture. And so if you don't fertilize and you don't have plenty of space for those roots to get into and get lots of moisture, they're just not going to put on the growth. And I proved that this year. Not that I meant to prove that, but you know, as long as we're doing experiments here. So how can you get those massive roots? Well, the first thing is if you had it planted out in the ground and those roots had an infinite amount of space to grow into and you fertilized them and they could just put on massive amounts of top growth, those things would just be primed and ready to grow massive roots out of those branches. Also, if I would have up-potted them to a bigger pot, like a 7-gallon pot, from the 2-gallon pots they're in, and then fertilized them really well and kept a constant supply of moisture, like drip irrigation or something, then I'd put on tons of top growth and those roots would grow like crazy in those pods. I'm convinced that's the answer. That was my problem this year, and next year I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to up-pot one of those into a 7-gallon pot. We're going to put those same pods on them, and we're going to get those massive roots filling out there. Anyway, in the meantime, I think we learned a lot. I'm excited to see these two guys start rooting out and do real well for us going into the winter. So I hope you guys liked this one. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to follow along. Have a fantastic week. Follow along next summer too, because we're going to do some more things with these root pods. By the way, I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check them out. And I'll see you in the next video. Adios.